I mean, of course, Sterling Manley with his injury mystery, but like every one of the guys that you mentioned, besides Sterling Manley, that missed the scrimmage, can play the point guard position. It's very strange. Very strange.
And it'd be interesting to see how Roy Williams and the staff handles the injuries and the minutes being played if there is a lack of depth at the point guard position once the season begins.
Will KJ Smith get some extended looks early in the year?
It will be an option. Mainly the highlight from Late Night with Roy is, as it always is, the dancing. And Roy Williams busted out the electric slide.
Of course, while we were not there. This is disappointing.
While wearing a pink sport coat and some fly Jordans that I assume Michael Jordan had sent to him. Simply put, was that the best move Roy Williams has ever put on the dance floor?
That's a tough one, man, because there's a lot of really good moves. I would probably say yes because it's the most complete one. I still like the win on the road at Duke, coming in the locker room, jumping up and down move. Not really a dance move, but more just pure excitement. But, I mean, it's so fun to watch a guy in Roy Williams that, you know, he's been through a lot. Look, I mean, he's had all the spells with vertigo. You know, he's had the knee issues that he's gone through. And this is still a guy that's coming out here and dancing with his players at, you know, his event on his own court. Still a guy that's just enjoying life. He loves doing what he does. He loves his players because, look, most of the other coaches, they're not going to get involved with their guys. You think Coach K is getting out there and doing that? Get out of here. That's definitely not allowed for him. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Now, like, Roy is just, he's a different animal. Best move that he's ever done, I don't know. That might be stretching it a little bit, but it's got to be up there, right? Like, if you're asking, is this the best outfit that he's ever worn? I don't know. That one might be close, man. If there's any guy that can rock a pink jacket, it's Roy Williams.
Yeah. I think the thing that, you know, and when he's doing this, he doesn't think about it because we know he's not. What he did at Late Night with Roy, that sells in recruiting, whether you believe it or not, because he is, you know, he's wearing nice clothes, putting on dance moves, and it's helping get big-time recruits back to Chaparral with NCAA off the campus. I just think, you know, I love watching the guy that runs our program have some fun because, you know, after that, it's all business for him. He deserves one night a year to have some fun, let his hair down, and enjoy time with the team and his family. Seemed like it was a pretty fun event. The scrimmage went pretty well. And so that was our annual 2019 Late Night with Roy. We'll move on to Media Day, which we've referenced here early on the podcast. Some reactions from his press conference that I watched before in preparation. Kendall Marshall's been named the director of recruiting, which
we kind of knew that
wasn't a position, but kind of became a position. And Roy Williams just said they had to give him a title, and that's the title that they gave him. But in reality, this is a pretty big move for Carolina. You've got a former player that played under Roy Williams that's going to be involved with your recruiting. Arguably the best pure point guard to play for Roy Williams, has been very involved with the development we saw of Kobe White, and we're going to see the development of Cole Anthony have in part to Kendall Marshall. Be interested to see, you know, if this helps us going down the line with further recruiting. We got a recruit to talk about coming up later in the show, but happy for Kendall, for a guy who couldn't make it on the court in the NBA. Carolina found a place for him on the coaching staff, and he's now the second player to have played for Roy Williams that has now gotten into, well, not the second player, it's Wes Miller's at UNC Greensboro, but the second Tar Heel that's on the coaching staff. Of course, Sean May is director of player personnel, or whatever they call this title. So Tar Heel connections up and down the staff continue. Sterling Manley, as we mentioned in the Late Night with Roy edition podcast, did not play. was out with a sore left knee. He undoubtedly had surgery over the offseason, which Roy Williams forgot to tell us because he didn't meet with the media to tell us.
He doesn't have the. He didn't know how to twit it out.
Yeah. So Sterling, just a guy that has battled something ever since he got on campus, whether it was getting in shape. We knew he had bad knees coming into when he signed with Carolina, and his knees continue to plague him since he got to campus. I think the biggest thing that came out of the whole press conference was there was a question that a reporter posed to him that, well, you're going to play two bigs. And Roy just kind of did the thing where he leans back in the chair and he's going, I'd like to. It doesn't seem as a firm commitment as to saying, yep, we're going to play with two big men.
I think it really just kind of comes down to, who's the best option to have on the floor for you at that time. Roy was a guy that, for the longest time, people said, look, he's stuck in his ways. He wants to have two big men on there. He wants to have a point guard that's going to push the tempo, this and that. We've seen in recent years that he's realizing, okay, not every kid is built the same. There's a lot of talent. There's some things that maybe I have to adjust just slightly. He still sticks to some core things that he likes to do. And that's great. He wants guys that can rebound the ball consistently. He still loves a guy that can push the ball. But I think, look, if he sees early on that, look, I can put Christian Kelling at the 4 and still be really successful. That's the unit that's been the most successful for me. He'll stick with that. But do I believe in my mind that Roy Williams wants to have two big men out there? Yes, I do. Do I think that that's probably going to be what's going to happen? Yes, I do. Because I believe that the best lineup for this team, and this is before the season starts, and there's nothing that's proving this. This is just pure speculation and opinion. The best lineup will be Bacat, Brooks, Kelling, Pierce, and Anthony.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
That's what I think.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Maybe Leaky, you switch with one of the two guys, either Pierce or Kelling. And I think, okay, if you have Bacat and Brooks down low, you have your two big guys. So, yeah, do I think that he wants to play two big guys? Yes, because when he's been the most successful, he's had two big guys that can do the bulk of the dirty work.
It just, I'm not going to say it caught me off guard. His answer to the question surprised me because I've sat here.
You thought he would come out and say yes.
I've sat here since March and thought, well, I know we got a 5-star big coming in. We're going to play two big men.
I think that the answer will be different if they ask him before next season. Because you'll have Day'Ron Sharp and Walker Kessler, who I think he will say, yes, they need to play. And probably Garrison Brooks, because we're still – it's what, 2 weeks later? Since we did the podcast where we mentioned that people were saying he could go to the NBA, we're still not sold that Garrison Brooks is going to leave early.
I think it also just shows that Roy Williams, for a guy that is old school as it is still willing to change with the times and understands, look, if playing two bigs isn't the best, I'm not going to wait until December to change it. We'll just start out that way.
You got to adjust because how many teams in college basketball now play two bigs that you're going to see on your schedule? Not many. You have a few traditional teams. Now, the thing is, we're going to see a lot of it, I think, in the first game of the year because Notre Dame likes to play two bigs. Florida State likes to play two bigs. But outside of those two teams in conference, can you think of a team that really likes to have two traditional big men inside at all times? It's hit and miss. There's some years where teams do because that's who they recruit. There's other years where teams don't because they didn't recruit that. A la Duke. Duke has years where they have two big men inside. They want to put the ball inside as often as possible. There's other years where Duke goes small, like this year. They'll probably have the ball on the perimeter a lot more. So, Roy will adjust, and that's what's great about him. Also, I wanted to mention about Sterling Manley. Like, at this point, is it okay to start being a little concerned because, it doesn't seem like he's making any progress at all? It's starting to get, you mentioned 31 days until the season, and the way that Roy made it seem in his press conference on Media Day, Sterling's nowhere close to being back on the floor.
Yeah, it's definitely been concerning. I've voiced my, and I'll call it what it is, frustration with him. whenever he's gotten hurt in the rehab process.
Like, I don't know if it's just that. Well, we don't know because we're not around Sterling all the time. And you know, I understand Roy's not going to come out and tell us if he's, you know, not doing what he exactly needs to. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, is there something going on that we're not seeing where he's just maybe not putting in the effort to rehab, or what is exactly going on? Or is this like a serious injury that could end this young man's career, which would be unfortunate for a guy that, you know, you were very high on coming out of high school and thought, you know, we were seeing after his freshman year start to develop just a little.
Yeah, it's something that, you know, we'll definitely monitor as we move forward. He won't play until he practices. Well, that's Roy Williams' mantra. He doesn't play a guy unless they cannot go through a full practice, and we're a month away. So we'll see if he starts picking up any practice time before that season opener. Moving on, recruiting for Carolina. Another big day a couple nights ago. They landed the 2020 point guard Caleb Love, committed to Carolina over the hometown Missouri Tigers. He's a 5-star, consensus top 5 point guard by every recruiting site, top 25 player by every recruiting site. Really big get for the 2020 class. They've already locked up the 2 big men we've talked on here, Day'Ron Sharp and Walker Kessler. But we knew there was going to be a void at point guard. We assumed Cole Anthony to be one and done in Chapel Hill. And, you know, you have Anthony Harris and Leaky Black on the roster, but you know, you also want to bring in another point guard to run your offense. And Carolina got that with Caleb Love. He's the 5th 3-star, or the 3rd 5th-star of that 2020 class. He's also joined with Sharp and Kessler. He's the 3rd top 25 recruit in the class, which is the first time since Roy Williams' 2006 class to have 3 top 25 players or more. Going to Missouri.
Who was the one in the, what would that be, the 13 class or 14 class? Because you had the 3 5-stars for the first time since Jackson, Pinson, and Barry. It was Barry, right? That was outside of the top 25. I think he was in the 30s somewhere.
Probably, because I know Justin Jackson was
and Theo was very high because he was a phenomenal shooter at the prep level.
Yeah. A really stacked class. He goes to Missouri to get a top player, which isn't shocking. He got Tyler Hansborough from the state of Missouri, and he's arguably the greatest player in the history of the program.
By the way, can I say this? There were people that were saying that this was a foregone conclusion beforehand because Missouri can't recruit. Did people just miss the fact that Michael Porter Jr. went there over some other really big-time offers? Like, Missouri can recruit. They've done it before. You play in the SEC, which is weak. You have the ability to, if you're a good enough player, go in there and take over. So, like, it seems like people are trying to downplay the fact that Carolina landed him. Like, oh, this should have happened. But like Roy Williams had to really bust some tail to get this kid in here.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a big land.
It's just one of those where you don't want to give Carolina too much credit because on paper this was the right move for Caleb Love. You go play for a Hall of Fame head coach. You're playing for a premier program that turns point guards out into the NBA on a semi-yearly basis. I'm just interested as we monitor the rest of the 2020 class, how does Roy Williams build it? You've got 3 5-stars that have potential to be one-and-done kind of talents. We know we're not going to run a program like a Duke or Kentucky. So does now he look at the other areas where he just gets guys that are going to be highly rated guys, 3 and 4-star players, but also going to be 2 or 3 year kind of guys?
Well, this is the thing, though, because, like, let's say, okay, you look at a guy like Zaire Williams, Cade Cunningham's kind of off the table from what we're hearing now.
They're still in the running for almost 8 other 5-star recruits. Now, they're not going to get all those 8.
Oh, of course not.
But how much do you spend on those kind of guys?
It's weird because you got to think, okay, there's only so much room in a class. But how are you going to turn away a guy that is a 5-star that wants to play for you? I think that Roy Williams, what'll happen is Roy is going to tell these kids, look, okay, we want you here, but also we need guys in here that are going to stay for more than just the 1 year. So, like, okay, and people are freaking out over the fact that he's not 100%, committed to us just yet. Puff Johnson, Cam's brother, seems like